Good evening and welcome to the public hearing for the North Andover Center Historic District Commission meeting. Prior to starting the meeting, I'd like to read the following statement. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting will be conducted via remote means in accordance with the applicable law. This public hearing of the Old Center Historic District Commission will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.northandovermass.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting live may do so on the televisions by turning to Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 26 or online at www.northandovercam.org. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Every effort, in the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town of North Andover's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. If the public would like to participate in public hearings, please email your question or your comment prior to or during the meeting h@northandovermass.gov. The question or comment will be read during the proceedings and respond to accordingly. I'd like to now have or ask for a motion to open the meeting.
Hey, this is Ryan. I'll make that motion that we open the meeting.
Okay.
Harry, this is Roger. I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Okay, the meeting is officially opened, and let me just get to the agenda. So the first thing on the agenda would be any old business that we needed to review. Is there any old business needing review? Okay, if there's no old business, then we're going to go to the third agenda item, which is the first application for a certificate of appropriateness for North Andover Historical Society on 800 Massachusetts. This application is for the installation of two signs, vinyl full color on a white background promoting the North Andover Historical Society and its capital campaign. If those following along in the share drive could open up the file for that application. It's titled SC Capital Campaign Signage. I don't know who, James, either you or Brian, is planning on representing the application, or Kathy. But when you walk us through the application, if you could open your share file up and identify when you're speaking which particular documents and the way that they're labeled in the share drive so people at home could follow along. So who would like to present? Brian, are you?
Okay.
Or
All right. Well, I submitted the COA, and forgive me, this is my first time at one of these meetings, so trying to get the lay of the land here.
Yeah, Brian, just merely bring. So I'll help. Brian, we're not leaving out there.
Do we want to start with the elevator shaft part, Brian and Tom?
No,
and Harry?
we have to follow the agenda unless we make a change to that. We could. I was trying to get with 6:10. We have literally 35 minutes, and I thought knock a few things off.
Okay.
before we have a long meeting.
Well-
The application is pursuant to the Society's capital campaign that will be extending well into 2022. And to promote the campaign and what we're trying to do to bring benefits to the Old Center of North Andover and to promote interest in the project, we have some signage which is installed on the marquee in front of 800 Mass Ave, and also a larger sign on the building itself directly above the main entrance. There's I'm aware of the 90-day permit for temporary signage. These do constitute temporary signs for the society. However, we anticipate that the permanent signage will not be included on the building itself for some time, and are asking for consideration of that in the context of the project.
Okay. And so when you say across the marquee, as we're looking at the provided documentation in the share drive, we're looking at capital campaign or JPEG identified as capital campaign 1. And also there's a photograph, JPEG capital KIM G2564 for those who are following along at home. Brian, can you explain, there were 2 signs and what the graphics are? And,
yes.
And,
Well,
the specifics and
the sign on the building itself, in the 2 images that you've just identified, it's 41 inches by 28 feet. And it identifies and promotes the campaign, promoting what we are planning to do in the building, what we're raising funds for, and the benefits we'll be bringing to the community. The banner itself reads theater, cafe, art, music, bookstore, exhibits, and more, making history on the Common, coming in 2022. So that is the that's the sign on the building itself. And on the marquee in front of the building.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. And that's in the JPEG identified as capital campaign number 3, and I believe it's also part of the JPEG identified as large horizontal banner V2.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
All right. It's just so that as everybody's following along with you, we know what we're looking at. That's all. And then,
and so that's the sign on the building, and a much smaller sign which occupies the marquee in front of the building has the Historical Society and campaign logo, when in the same colors as the sign on the building itself, and the society name and just the logo itself, making history on the Common, and the society's website is on that smaller sign, and you'll see that in the logo banner attachment in the shared drive.
okay.
Now it's our interest again to promote the campaign in the society, and to try and present an accurate accounting of what is actually happening in the building itself, to dispel any any conjecture as to what's actually going on at 800 Mass Ave, and to promote what the society is trying to do there.
Okay. And those can be, those 2 graphics can be identified as capital campaign number and logo banner 24 The 24 by 41.
24 by 41.
That's, yeah, 24 by 41. Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to add to that at this point?
No, I've just, that.
Both
this is,
signs, Brian, both signs are made at this time of vinyl.
That's correct.
No?
And yes, and affixed with easily removable means. So they're by no means, intended to be permanent signs.
Yep. Right.
But we do want them there for the duration of the campaign before permanent signage is effective.
Right. Okay. I am going to now at this point open it up for discussion for the commission members. I don't know if we want to go around and people can make comments or questions or.
Harry, it's
Harry?
Brian. I just had a quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just
Yeah,
a quick
go
question.
Ryan.
The long banner, I'm assuming, is going over the 3 archways. I might have missed that during the presentation on the front of the building.
Yes,
that right?
yes, correct.
And that 40 whatever feet, I am assuming, is the width of that entire front distance over the arch.
Yeah, it's 28 feet, 41 inches in height.
Okay.
But yes, the sign is there, and it occupies most of the length.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Thank you.
Harry, it's Kathy. I just wanted to ask,
Yep.
how long really do you anticipate these, not permanent signs being up? 2 years, from 2022 to 2024, or
No.
what do you think?
Is
Mr.
that a
Howard.
is that a question for me or for Harry?
Yes. No, that's a question for Brian Howard, the director.
No, these are temporary signs for the campaign, and our target date to complete the campaign and have everything wrapped is no later than December of next year, 2022.
Okay.
So
Not
Brian,
permanent.
would you, so for us to put to Kathy's question, if we were to put in the motion that we're going to approve the temporary signs through December 2022, would that be acceptable in terms of what you're thinking? Or
Is
would you
that
want
a
it
question
longer?
for me?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, Brian.
Yes, that'd be fine. Optimally,
That would work for you.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's next with the question?
Yeah, Harry, Roger here. I'm fine with the signage. I don't have any issues.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Well,
Harry,
Harry,
this is-
Kathy. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
This is Leslie. I think the nature of the signs look temporary. So I think that having them up for a little over a year is okay, even though we say 90 days. So I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah, so what they're, and that's why, Leslie, that is why Ryan has, and the society has decided to put an application. So for all practical purposes, he's granted 90 days under the temporary restriction of the bylaw. However, since they know that they wanted to keep it up through the end of December 2022, is well beyond the 90 days, this is actually an application that would not extend temporary signage, but actually make that temporary signage permanent until such time that he takes it down. It
Okay, thanks
allows
for
him
clearing that up.
Yeah.
Harry, it's Kathy. I'm just a little confused. On the application for this particular part of the all the applications, does it state in the application that the quote, temporary signs will come down in December of 2022, or is it left open-ended on that? Is it in the
It's left up,
application that,
it technically can be left, yeah, it technically can be left open-ended. It does not, we don't have to put a constraint on it.
okay,
We can leave it as just signage that is going to be in place for however long the society wishes to leave that signage in place.
so there doesn't have to be an end date on the, in the application itself for the signage, is that what you're saying?
That's correct. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be, no.
For what it's worth, given the fact that we have a date on the sign itself, it behooves us to have that project complete and the sign removed well in advance of the end of that date. So I certainly would not anticipate keeping it up, one day longer than December 31st of 2022, and optimally we'll have it off well before then.
Okay. Well, if that was, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, this is Marty, and I'm just saying, in the interest of moving things along, I think that there does not seem to be any great objection to this, and maybe, are you going to vote on each of these individually, Harry, or wait till we get all the, requests in and then vote on them as a whole?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're in discussion and we want to make sure that anybody's questions or comments are
Okay,
answered.
well,
I appreciate.
I know our
the-
time is limited tonight, so I'm just suggesting we, everyone seems to be in agreement on this one.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. This is Kim. I'm in agreement. We know the end date, and I think with the parameters given, I'm fine with it. We should probably capture the end date so it matches what the party intends.
Are there any other questions or comments? We have not received any comments from the public. Would someone like to make a motion?
Harry, this is Marty, I'd be very happy to make that motion. That we approve with the that addition of the end date.
Proposed signage
I second the motion.
through December 2022. Okay, any further discussion or any other questions? I need a second on the motion.
I just seconded the
Somebody
motion.
want a
This is Kim.
second? Thank you, Kim.
This is Kim. Okay.
Okay. All in favor of approving the proposal for signage through December 2022?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. It's always hard when you don't see people. So were there any objections to the passage of the motion? No. Okay, so the motion passes. So that was 9. Okay, all right. So now, Brian, the fourth thing on the agenda item is the application for a certificate of appropriateness for North Andover Historical Society, 800 Mass Ave. This is for an application for replacement of the original front door with an ADA compliant unit.
I'm going to turn that part of the presentation over to James.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
So
Yeah,
I
you're fine.
don't know if people see the document or submission information there in front of you guys that Brian sent, but the basic thought is for accessibility. Tom Galvin and I have talked about this, Brian and I, that a very minimal way to affect the look and style of the building would be to copy exactly what Pingree did with the mansion front door of the historic property there, which is simply to take the existing door and work in insulated glass panels that are the same relative thickness of the 6 panels on the upper of the 4 panels of the 6 panels, being the upper 4 of the door, to be transparent so that people on either side can see each other before they whack the door out and knock someone over in their walker or their scooter or whatever. And it's been something we saw from the very beginning. It's a very strange front door to a public accessible building, have just a big, wide, blank, covered, opaque door with no side lights, windows, anything anywhere. So that's the concept. Tom, Brian, and I, and others all like the idea, and we just wanted to get that approved from the group.
So what we're looking at, the PDF label Stevens Center front door glass for accessibility improvement.
There should be a picture there of a green painted door, and that's, our door is white. We're not planning on changing the color, but that's almost the exact type of door look that we're going for, with simply those 4 panels changing from wood panels to glass panels without changing any of the rest of the look and style of the door.
Okay. So that's that's the application. And right? I see also on that same document, there's an ADA remote opening actuator also that you're planning to install.
I didn't mention such details. Yes, Tom reminded us that you have to have a way to open the door, which will now become actuated. So there's Tom pointed out there's the narrower style as opposed to the big square one. And if that narrower style is still legal and appropriate, we would try to go for that. If it's, again, appropriate on this type of publicly accessible building on the outside, and then somewhere on the inside that makes sense. I think Tom suggested that's on the very inside, but that's irrelevant to this discussion. But on the outside, we're talking about left of the door, so that you would push it, and then the door would start to slowly open.
Okay. So James, just help me before I open it up for discussion in understanding. I know you're always in your applications very thorough in providing alternatives as well. So I did notice that you also had mentioned alternatively to have a new door made. What is the what would be your preference on a society, having a retrospective door in order to use the current door, or is that just thrown in there?
Our preference would be to try to utilize the existing door. It's a perfectly good door. It works pretty well, and the only thing that doesn't work perfectly is the open and hold piston, which won't be needed anymore once we have this. If it turns out not to be effective and, either cost effective or practical to do that once we get into it, we would then want the ability, again, if you give this permission to us, to copy that door look, style, and size within, say, an inch or two of the panel sizes and whatever, in a replacement door that would be white have some sort of a molding around those same 6 Christian style panels, with the top 4 being glass. That's not our goal, but we wanted that ability in case we run into some issue with the wooden door the way it is. Again, our goal is to use the door the way it is, because I think it'll be more cost effective, and it goes with the rest of the building the best in terms of how every other door is from the inside and whatever. But yeah, that's the thought there.
Okay. And I'm just thinking then. I mean, the ADA remote door opener is pretty straightforward. But as we look at a motion, I'm gonna open up for discussion, but I'm taking the first review here. So I think for the commission, we should probably then just consider the architectural element and not focus on retrofit versus new. If James, I'm hearing you correct, and you want to have the option, then we would have to look at this as just the architectural element, i.e. having the same style door with the 4 panes of glass, whether it is retrofitted or new construction.
That makes sense to me.
And vote on. Am I hearing that correctly, or?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me from our point of view.
Okay.
We just wanted to give all the different options out there.
Yeah, because for our purposes, and I understand and I appreciate that you're saying, if a new door had to be made, you'd have to retrofit it, and there would have to be some wiggle room in some of the dimensions overall. I understand that within the rail styles or the panels. So that's
minimal. I mean, just
that's fine.
What would be available? It's going to be pretty custom built no matter what. But again, we're hoping to use the door as it is. So
correct.
Yeah.
So I would like then the commission to look at this as of not trying to say an either or, but to say the intent is to take the front door architectural element, that door, that current 6-panel door, make it a 2-panel on the bottom with 4 panes of glass on the top. So can I open that up and rather than just open it up for discussion, I'm going to call everybody to just kind of go through. So Kathy, would you like?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't see a problem with this. I am understanding correctly that the glass has to be in there to be ADA approved. Is that correct?
Tom, do you want to answer that one?
Is that the door itself would not be construed as ADA compliant right now? Is that correct, Tom Galvin?
Yes. Well, the other feeling is that with the vision glass, as people approach the door, they're going to see if someone is outside the door with a wheelchair or with canes. The visibility component is what you're really looking for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't see a problem. According to the application, it said that this door would be compatible with interior doors. I kind of wish you had shown 1 or 2 interior doors so that we could see for ourselves. But that being said, I really have no issue with the door.
Okay. And just Kathy, I think one of the things. So when one would and either James or Tom, correct me if I'm here. But so what they're proposing is to keep sort of a 6-panel approach to providing that compliance. Okay, so that's in essence in 4 panes of glass, of which, as Tom mentioned, has to be a certain height to be accessible or visible from a wheelchair. But just as a hypothetical, Kathy, just or for the rest of the commission, they could have made it, 2 panes of glass or a single pane of glass, like one large pane of glass, for example. Those are the architectural pieces that we're looking at in terms of compatibility of that door and its architectural element. And what they're recommending is keeping the profile of that with the styles and the rails and so forth, and merely replacing those solid pieces either with new glass or with glass or a new door. Did I get that right? Or if somebody add something to that?
That's
yeah,
correct.
I mean, obviously putting a giant piece of glass taking up all 4 of those upper panels or all 6 of the panels would be.
Well, I'm just illustrating. I'm not.
But it would it would be modern looking. And I mean,
too big.
When I saw the Pingree door, that was the answer. Like I didn't, I thought of different ways of doing it myself. But when I saw that Pingree door, it's like they already went through this. I can guarantee 100% that Pingree door was a 6-panel Christian wood door. And then when it became a school, someone decided it needed to be ADA approved and whatever, and they came up with that method. And it's like, we're just stealing their method, borrowing the method. And when we talked about with Tom later on, he came up with the same idea. So it's great. We have it from a few different angles that is, it's a good way to not damage the building's look and style and feel while getting that ADA method. It's not easy. It's not simple. No normal construction person would ever consider that. They just rip the door off and put a store door on there. That's not who any of us are and what we're allowed to do. So.
Yep. Any other questions, Kathy?
Nope, I'm good.
Mike?
Nope, I'm good.
Michael?
Nope, I said I'm good.
Thank you. Leslie?
I think I'm happier with the glass than I am with the other door. The other door was not very friendly or welcoming. I like the glass part. I think it's a nice addition, actually. So I'm definitely on board with this.
Roger?
I also like the glass panes and the fact they're reutilizing the door. I think it's a great idea. Yep.
Marty?
It's the right thing to do.
Laurie?
I think it's a great solution. So yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. Kim?
Yeah, I think it was smart to copy Pingree, who already went through all the thinking through. So it looks good to me. And I'm assuming any possible retrofitting would be in line with the look and feel. So I'm fine with it.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great addition, and they did a nice job.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So is there any other discussion?
Harry, Roger here. I'm just not quite sure if this, if we're using the door doesn't work out for whatever reason, will these folks come before us with this other door, or do we need to approve this new door now?
Well,
I may have lost that.
That's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah, it's a good question, Roger. That's what I was getting at. I would like us to approve the architectural door, not the replacement of or new part of the door. So in other words, what we're saying is door that's currently there with those 4 panes as they are presented to us, either new or retrofitted. So we're going to approve the go ahead for the society to go ahead and replace that door, either with retrofit or a new door.
Harry, is there an issue with the kind of material they might use with a retrofit? Say wood versus fiberglass, an insulated fiberglass. Do we have to worry about that?
We can
Even if it was
specify
the
that.
same look?
That's a discussion question, Leslie. I mean, that's part of the architectural element. I mean, we can specify if we think it's an important piece of the architectural element.
And if we had any requests, it would probably be, I mean, Tom may have to add in from if we actually replace the door, if there's any codes, but I think the modern fiberglass doors in white look very nice and would look a lot like the wood. The steel doors are more fire resistant, but I can't stand when they get little dents in them. They don't look like wood. And they're so smooth and they have those rounded edges. And so I think for the front door, I would rather not use a metal door, but I think for the society, the best thing is to have the ability to use a foam-filled fiberglass or a foam-filled steel door. But you guys can tell us if you want to limit us to anything. And Tom has to tell us if we actually replace the door completely, if there's any codes that come in play.
Well, I mean, the front door is obviously a major element in making a first impression for most of the people that are going to be coming into the facility. Very, very few people are going to enter the building in any other location. So, we want to make sure that it's as architecturally appropriate as possible. I do not feel that a steel door would be a good option for example. Fiberglass, though, has been utilized extensively over the last 20, 30 years now, and the performance of the doors is definitely a consideration for the long-term viability of the building. So we hope that we can keep the original wood door, and we'll do everything that we can to that. So to that end, hopefully we won't find any surprises when the installation piece begins. So that's our approach to let's keep it looking as good as we can on the public side of the building, because that's the impression that we're going to be making.
So what would in that scenario, what is your preference material then for a new door?
If we were replacing the door, and I think Brian is thinking that
fiberglass
would be, if we're paying brand new money for brand new door, if we have to, I think a closed cell foam insulated fiberglass door, Christian 6-panel with the 4 topping glass, with all dimensions being within, say, 10% or an inch of all existing dimensions in terms of panel sizes and balance and all that, would be our request.
Okay. We have to have a hard stop. I apologize for that at 6:45. And I was hoping to get this vote in, but we do have to go through the discussion just to see if folks are okay with the material. So why don't, if it's okay, we're gonna pause it here and we have to have a motion for a continuance. The continuance is already scheduled for October 6th, which is next week. We do not have any restrictions or being bumped out of priority for next week. So we will have the full 2 hours, 2 hours plus if we need it. So it'll be next Wednesday evening. And we will pick up on the agenda item, continuation of the discussion, and then get a vote on this and then move on to the next agenda item. So the North Andover CAM needs some time to schedule the next meeting and get it ready. So could we have a motion? We'll hold off here for further discussion. We're in the middle of discussion. But can I get a motion for a continuance to October 6th of this meeting?
Yes, Harry, I move that we continue this meeting on October 6th.
Thank you, Mike. I need a second on that motion.
This is Leslie. I'll second that.
Okay. You know, rather than just get a general yay or nay, I'm just quickly going to go through the list and just people tell me. Kathy, yes?
Yes.
Yay or nay? Kathy? All right, we'll come back to Kathy. Mike?
Yes.
Yes? No on the motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Harry,
Leslie?
I said yes. It's Kathy. I said yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kathy. All right, thank
Yep.
you. Leslie?
Yep.
Roger?
Yes.
Roger? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Marty?
Oh, yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes, I'm.
Thank you.
You hear me? Yes. Thank you.
All right, so we had 9-0 for a motion to continue. This meeting will be continued at 6 p.m. on October 6th, and we'll be picking up the agenda from there. I want to thank everybody
Thanks, Harry.
for being in attendance, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.